Hello there, what is going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about Star Wars Legion and Command cards. Since I just hit 10 years, my 10-year anniversary for my since my first Star Wars video, which was a Star Wars X-Wing video I had done on Super Bowl 10 years ago. I wanted to incorporate 10 into a couple of videos, and hopefully this kicking off decade number 2 here on the YouTube channel. Hopefully we'll make the second decade even more fun and entertaining and informative, and maybe a little less controversial, but maybe a little more. I have a feeling this video is going to have a little bit of controversy because we're talking about our top 10, or at least my top 10 Star Wars Legion command cards. I'm going to be covering all factions, and I'm going to be kind of basing these off of how big of an impact I think they have, if they're like must includes. I'm trying to vary it up a little bit, and I'll try to talk about my reasonings why. But I also want to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments section what you agree with, what you disagree with. Did I leave anything off? Also, join our Discord. We would love to have you guys on our Discord. We have a great family-friendly Discord. We talk Star Wars tabletop gaming, a lot of other tabletop gaming too. There's lots of new cool stuff coming out this year. We're going to keep the discussions going in Discord as well. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let's go ahead and jump right into this at number 10. It's going to be Blast Off. Look, R2-D2 is a multi-faction character, so you can already use him in Republic and in the Rebels. So this command card gets some points. It made it on the list because it's a dual faction card, which is awesome. But it's also a really big deal for R2-D2, who normally can't get around obstacles. He can't climb. This gives him jump, increases his speed, and he is in the game to accomplish that secret mission, and this card really lets him do that. All of his other cards are nice and clever and everything, but he's a single-purpose miniature. He's there to get to that enemy deployment zone and get you that extra victory point that's going to win you the game. And the barrier that stops him from doing that 9 times out of 10 is the fact that he's pretty slow, and this helps kind of balance that equation. It overcomes his greatest weakness, and it's pretty much an auto include anytime you take R2-D2. Everything else I can kind of leave out, but this one is one you just gotta have, and then hope that he can survive after you do this to actually, make the secret mission count. But I have Blast Off coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is a new one. It's We Make Weapons from Poggle the Lesser. This one is an interesting one because it has such great synergy with the B2 Super Battle Droids. It does a couple of good things, a couple of bad things. You may look at this one and say, wait a second, it counts as a 3-pip, but it's actually got a 4-pip, so you're going to lose. And I don't think that's too much of a negative because of the fact that, well, it's a 2-part thing that I think mitigate the fact that that's technically a negative. One of those is that usually when you're playing a 3-pip, you're not trying to go first anyway. You kind of know you're going to lose that go first battle regardless. So, hey, that's no problem. Also, there are some cases where there's a guesstimate with number of pips, and it's kind of cool to have a card that breaks the standard 1, 2, or 3 pip option. There are already mechanics in the game that have you, if your opponent knows what pip you're going to play, you're at a disadvantage. And there are some cases where this can still be useful, especially against Agent Callus. So I think there's got a little bit of mitigation against the negative effect with that. But the things that really make it work very, very well is that, hey, this is a Separatist card. It issues 4 droid trooper units. That's a great way, especially when you want to run a lot of B2s that don't have that chain. This is a great card to make those work. It's also a great card to return miniatures to the B2 Super Battle Droids, and they have 2 health each, so you're getting a whole bunch of health back to your army if you play this right and at the right time. It's a very cool card, and it really works well with a kind of multi-list type of build for Poggle the Lesser, and so it did make the list. It just has tremendous value in what it can do. It does a lot. So I like that. Coming in at number 9, was We Make Weapons. Rather, coming in number 8 is Son of Skywalker. Luke Skywalker debuted with this card in the core set. It's a great way to basically lets him double tap. He's already got a strong Commander. Luke Skywalker already had a pretty strong attack with his weapon and his surging to crit. But this card got elevated even higher once Jedi Luke came out, and you had an even better weapon, and you are even charging in there and able to just really wreak havoc with this thing. Plus with training upgrades and all kinds of different ways that you can outfit Jedi Luke to make him ultra deadly. Being able to double tap with him is really, really cool, especially on Jedi Luke, because he can disengage, and so you're likely to have an opponent who wants to put multiple units on there with you. And even if you the only drawback used to be sometimes is that your first attack would actually kill somebody, and then you were left with the little pistol with Commander Luke or something like that. But in the event that your opponent it's like, oh, I'll just move in on Luke with 2 units so he can't disengage, or even 3 units so you can't force push and then disengage or something like that. Luke can just cut down 2 whole units this way, which is even more wonderful if you're able to do something like that. It's a very fun card, and when played at the right time, it can really spin the momentum of a game. Very cool card. So that's number 8. Number 7, similar to Luke, his father is coming in here with his very similar card, kind of like the mirror opposite. This one ranked a little higher because it actually was given some updates in AMG's pass over it. So Darth Vader launched in the core set with Implacable, that it sort of lets him do sort of the same thing, but it gives him a little more flexibility. And this has seen 2 reasons that made this get better over time. Whereas Son of Skywalker had Jedi Luke, which made it get better. Implacable has seen 2 things that make it get better. Although it does have a negative because you have to take a wound when you're doing it. And so sometimes this would be probably a higher card on this list if you didn't have to take the wound, because I hate having to put a wound on Darth Vader, but it's definitely worth it if you can afford it. So the idea here is, you get to activate, shuffle, he activates as normal, and then you suffer the wound, and then you're putting his order back into the pile. Well, this got upgraded when now he gains a dodge token. So, that's already cool. So, and Vader definitely needs dodge tokens. So, this is already going to help him stay alive. Kind of makes up for the fact that you have that wound, because now you're going to be able to use deflect and all that great stuff with those red dice. You hate rolling a couple of red surge, and all of a sudden you don't have the dodge for deflect. So, Implacable is great for that. But also, if you've got burst of speed on Darth Vader, now all of a sudden you are able to use that, because that speed 3 lasts until the end of the round, right? So if you're gonna just move ultra speed Vader charge and then kill somebody, and then you draw his order again, and then you can move and relentless charge and kill somebody at speed 3 again. You're really you're Black Lightning at this point. Darth Vader's insane with this card, and really what I love about this also the fact that it's very effective, but it amplifies Vader's job. Vader's job is to be out there a menace and killing people. And when you play this card, it stood the test of time. Even without the free dodge token, it would still be a great card. But man, having the extra dodge token and the increased synergy with burst of speed, overcoming Vader's greatest weakness and multiplying that burst of speed by being able to move on a whole second activation, even though you only get 1 action. He's got Relentless, so you can just go boom. You can make those sound effects when you're doing it too. Very cool card. Moving up the list to number 6, we have Complete the Mission. It's a Jyn Erso card. It's their 3-pip. This card is insane. A lot of people may not run Jyn very much. She's not everybody's favorite commander. She's certainly one of my least favorite commanders in the whole game, and I wish that she would get banned permanently so I never have to face her again, because she's very, very annoying. And this is one of the cards that makes her so annoying when she's on the other side of the table. It's 3 troopers, so you got some flexibility on who you issue orders to, but this basically means you can't. This is an amazing turn 6 card. You're issuing 3 orders with this one. They can gain suppression token. They also can't be suppressed. They can't be panicked this turn. To anybody you issue these orders to, you issue these orders to your objective holders. They can be holding the golden idol, about to make it, and were they going to panic and drop that token? This was even better. Partially better when panic was also at the risk of like fleeing off the board. But still, you can drop an objective token if you panic. So you don't want to panic. You don't want to lose actions when you critically need them, especially if you've got to raise the level on a moisture evaporator and then escape to safety or something like that. So this is just a tremendous card. When so many like final round games come down to, oh no, if I can make him panic, I can win. Or if I can suppress them and keep them off the objective, I can win. And this says, no, you're not doing any of that. And it has beautiful synergy with Pathfinders because, hey, they're going to want all of those suppression tokens anyway, so they get the extra die rolls from them, and so like it maximizes their survivability and their utility because they're going to have all their actions and they can't drop objectives or anything like that. This is an amazing turn 6 card. On the only downside is you have to take Jyn, and I mean she's actually a really effective rebel commander, especially with that Courage 3 bubble, but yeah, like this card really does great things for a build that's synergized around Jyn. And it's possibly the greatest turn 6 card in the game. So that's why it's here on the list. I hate that you have to take Jyn. If it was attached to a commander that I liked a little bit more personally, I might rank it even higher. So a little bias pushed this one down. All right, moving up. ISB Investigation with Agent Callus. This one is really cool. So first off, it's really cool to have cards that go on commanders with contingencies because you have greater flexibility. So that gives them a little bit of bonus right out the gate. So Callus has some great synergy with command cards as a whole already. But this card is so nasty because this is one of those cards that can totally counter just about any card on this list if you know the game well enough and if you know what your opponent is played already. Again, of course, played cards are going to be publicly available as public knowledge. So you're going to pick a number and you're going to choose an opponent. That opponent sets aside face up any command card in their hand that have the number of pips equal to that declared number. This counters so many strategies. And again, I'll go back to that we make weapons card. Let me rewind a little bit. Like this is a 4 pip, so this one would actually kind of be sort of immune to it. But basically, if your opponent hasn't played any 1 pips yet, and you're just like, oh, they've already played their 2s. They're saving until the late game to be able to rock out with the 1 pips and then run chaos or whatever. Or maybe not. Maybe they've played their 1 pips early and they're counting on a critical 2 or 3 pip that you know a certain commander has that's going to potentially turn the game. Like, for example, Jin's Complete the Mission. He can just say like, oh, on turn 5, by the way, you can't get rid of all 3 pips from your hand. You can't play 3 pips anymore until you've played something else. And then you can lock them out of that for the rest of the game. This one, as far as the metagame, when you're really getting into the nuts and bolts and the strategy of it, this is an incredibly strategic card. And this is the type of command card I could see someone like Grand Admiral Thrawn having if he were to come into the game today. This is a great card, and it's spectacular and really nasty if you have to go against it and you're trying to play at a higher level. So yeah, cool card at number 5. Number 4, definitely getting into my bias here. It's At Last. Look, I love Maul. Maul's a really fun character. Specifically, Separatist Maul has a little more synergy than this one as opposed to Shadow Collective Maul, but this can work on both of them, and it's a great card. So it says, while building a command hand, treat this card as though it has 3 pips. I love that, just the first part. And then the second part, Maul gains an aim token and Jedi Hunter, and when he activates, he may suffer a wound. This does so much. And I love that it's a he may suffer a wound. So if you're running this in Shadow Collective Maul, probably going to ignore that last part because he already starts with a wound on him, so you don't have to do that. Unless, of course, you get healed and then you want to play this one like late game or something like that. You could do that. He's got witch magic and stuff, so you can do a lot of that with him. But, dude, it's a 1 pip that only counts as a 3 pips. You can run 3 1 pips this way because you'll have this counts as a 3 pip and you still have your other 2 1 pips. Although, if you're running Shadow Collective Maul and you're trying to run all of his command cards, you're not going to have 3 1 pips because he's also got, he does the other thing to try to balance the equation. But if you're running Separatist Maul in a mixed list, that's going to run the other Maul 1 pip and then, your other commander's 1 pip or a generic 1 pip or something like that. You can really, not only is this letting Maul get some extra, get an aim, Jedi Hunter, giving them that wound early on so he can take all 3 actions, which is really exactly what Maul wants right away. But it also has this added bonus of really messing with your opponent, because they'll think, oh, well, he's already played his 2/1 pips, so now I know he can't beat me. And then you have At Last in your hand. You're like, oh, well, hold on a second. It plays tremendous mind games with your opponent. And, a lot of people may assume that you have At Last already. But I love it. It's never a guarantee. And so when your opponent doesn't know how many pips you even have available, or if you can play games with that, it's a really nasty way to get them, lure them into a false sense of security where they play a card like a 2-pip, and then they're certain they're going to go first with the 2-pip at a critical juncture, and then you surprise them. It's like, oh no, I had another 1-pip just waiting. Or its existence might make your opponent, even if you don't take it, your opponent might assume you have it, and then even more crazy things can happen. So At Last is one of my favorites, and that's making the list at number 4. So far, let's pause for just a second. So far, how many did I get that would be on your list? And what do you think the top 3 are? What do you think we're going to see for the top 3? If you want to pause the video right now, let me know down in the comments, and then we'll keep going, and we'll see how many you got right. Ready? All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go on to number 3. It's going to be Change of Plans by Han Solo. Amazing card. We're talking a little bit about cards that can totally swing a game and can totally change the flow of a game. This is one of them. First off, it's Han Solo in 2 units. It's a 3-pip. It's kind of standard, right? It's just going to activate stuff. The real beauty of this card is that when it's revealed, you can discard it to return an opponent's command card to their hand. Then you're going to repeat the whole thing. So now you have, first off, this is straight up denial. Straight up denial. This also factors really, really well into Notorious Scoundrels. If you're running Chewbacca and Han, you can then turn around and play Notorious Scoundrels, get this card back, and then play it again next turn. So you can do complete denial. And the thing is, you get to see first. You get to look at the card and like, oh, actually, I'm okay if you want to play that. Yeah, and that's no problem. Oh, were you going to do standing orders? Go ahead. And so you get to see what happens before you decide whether you're going to do it. But this is the only way to just straight up cancel a card after it's played. This is incredible. And again, there's a couple of other cards I've played already that have the same approach, but they have a little bit of guesswork in there. You kind of have to be like, I think he's going to play that 1-pip, or I think he's going to play that 3-pip next turn, or I have to wait until like turn 5 to stop you for turn 6 or something like this. You can do this at any point when you think your opponent's about to play something really, really nasty. Do they have that Luke Skywalker at really close range, and you think that Son of Skywalker is getting ready to come out, or some kind of critical Luke Skywalker card is coming out? You can throw this down there and just have that insurance policy. It's a very cool card. Or if you really want to go first, you want to see what they play, if you really want to go first, you're probably going to play his 0-pip for Han. But this is just, there's a lot of flexibility with this, and then you combo this with Chewbacca, who you're probably already running with Han Solo, and then you get it back and you can run this one again. It's super, super nasty, and I think this card, again, when Han Solo first came out, there was a lot of attention drawn to that 0-pip, always, shooting first. Sorry about the mess, right? But Change of Plans has always really been Han's greatest strength, I think, and it's an incredible card, and it really, Han's better than he used to be, but even if he wasn't, this card justifies his place in the game. Change of Plans at number 3. Moving forward to number 2, it's, all right, this is sort of a combo deal because it's all of Yoda's cards because they all kind of go together. But for this one, I decided to go with There Is No Try for Giving Somebody Relentless, which is always a really fun thing. It's kind of cheating, and this is the only reason I probably didn't put Yoda at number 1, because he sort of cheats, but he cheats in a good way because he's little and green and he's a good guy, right? He can't cheat. Yoda, there's no different views for Yoda. Yeah, all of his cards are incredible, and they all cycle and give you, they keep coming back to your hand. You play one, you get another one back. You play one, you get another one back. You play one, you get another one back. And depending on which one you play first, you can play one card 3 times in a game, which is incredible. So, Yoda's kind of cheating because you never take just 2 of Yoda's command cards. You're always taking all 3 of Yoda's command cards. So, they're just that good of cards too. Whether you want him to go speed 3, whether you want him to share all of his tokens, or you want him to mega buff somebody. It's just wonderful what they've done with Yoda. And he's only going to get better and better as more like Jedi come out and stuff like that. Imagine like Padawan Ahsoka comes out and maybe she doesn't have Relentless or Charge or something like that, and then she's balanced. like she's compensated, around not having it, and then you can give it to her or whatever. Like, it's just going to get better and better and better as more cool things come out. And it already works really well with so many things. So I really, Yoda's, it's kind of cheating because I'm grouping all of Yoda's together at number 3, which again is kind of cheating. But since I had to pick one, I went with There Is No Try. But it's hard to pick just one. But they're all linked together and they all work with each other, so you can't just do one. So I went with this one as number 2, and it's a 2-pip associated, effectively. All right. We're going to move on to number 1. Here we go. Before we do number 1, I want just to remind you guys to click that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. Like the video, share the video. Let me know down in the comments how close we were to guessing some of these and which ones I left off that you think I should have included. I definitely want to hear that because it's a tough choice. There were a lot of ones that were really close. And I had to just say, you know what? No, this is top 10 according to my opinion. And, it doesn't mean that your opinion is any less valid. Number 1 is going to be And Now You Will Die, Emperor Palpatine. This is the biggest card in the game. And look, it would have been really, really close to go with Palpatine's 2-pip. Back when panicked units would, very well could like run off the board. I might have said his 2-pip was potentially better than this, but this one still, entire games are based all around this card. When Palpatine shows up, you know that this card is out there. The threat of this card influences the entire game. It turns him into little Death Blossom, from hell. He's super crazy. It definitely is. It's the scariest card in the game, and nobody ever wants to deal with it. When this comes out, it's always here we go. Shoot, here we go. Your opponent sweats when they see this card. And it only got better with Burst of Speed, right? Like the fact that Palpatine can now move at speed 3. Yeah, it's a disposable card. Yeah, it's a disposable card. You're only going to play this once. You're going to play Burst of Speed once. But it's a card that's going to just wipe out your opponent. It's going to be over. And hopefully, you've done this at a time where now the game is pretty much over and you've taken out their best and highest value units. And that's the number 1 card. Let me know some of your thoughts in the comments section. Also, join our Discord and keep the discussion going. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Also, a big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Did I say prosper or prosper? You'll never know, but always wash your socks.